LSM and REM settings. Select the LSM module. Select the Show Settings icon in the top right corner of the screen. The options in the settings are listed on the top of the page. When you select one of these tabs from the top, the corresponding options for those tabs will appear on the left side of the screen. Select the General tab, and standard factory defaults will be selected for you in this tab depending on which country and language the hardware is set to. The View option allows you to set the view of your test screens. Examples include a dual plot versus an overlay, displaying curves, smoothing, and graph ratio. The Advanced options allows you to link related measurements within the module.
Linking related measurements will ensure reference and gain curves are paired.
The Analyzer allows you to choose the octave band analysis to measure in. The default option is 3 or a 1/3 and is recommended for standard measurements. You can change to 24 or a 1/24 octave when looking for something specific like feedback. Measurement will allow you to select or change default settings for noise and speech averaging time and for the
long-term average spectrum. The time listed is the rolling window in which measurements will be averaged. In order to visualize gain changes, you will need to adjust the hearing aids and wait for the rolling window time to lapse, in this case 30 seconds.
Click on the Fitting icon. The Fitting tab allows you to select your default REIG and REAR fitting rules. NAL, NL2 is typically used and is the default. DSL is generally used for pediatric fittings. Other fitting rules, specifically the Modified Speech Spectrum or MSS, will be introduced and discussed later in the training videos. Default Client. Select client info for fitting as it pertains to the fitting formula. Default Output. This allows you to select the transducer type used for your air conduction testing. This also defaults to use bone conduction output. Hearing aid. This allows you to choose the hearing aid type, venting, tubing, and other acoustic fitting parameters of the fitting for the measurement.
You can save and load common hearing aid types to allow faster changes during hearing aid fittings.
Default NAL and default DSL settings will be set to default as by the requirements of those fitting formulas. Click on Signal. Signal allows you to set your test screens to show or hide the available stimulus options and to set your default stimuli. Click on Shown Test. This will allow you to select which test tabs will be displayed on your measurement screen. Click on the REUR tab. This will allow you to display KEYMAR for your measurements and allows you to choose between EQ SPL or SPL as your unit of measurement. You can click on the Help icon for further info on
EQ SPL
and SPL measurements. Select the LSM tab. This allows you to set the view of the screen, display thresholds, UCLs, targets, show falling peak sounds for tracking measurements, and default view to LTAS or peaks. Peaks versus LTAS will be discussed in the LSM training video.
Targets listed will be displayed when entering the module. Add or remove target levels you wish to test.
Hit your back button to go to the main screen and back again. Select the REM module and the REM settings icon. There are a few additional settings for the real ear measurement. REIG sets default to display your REUR, targets, and to set your default start target level. REAR settings for the view of the REUR screen for targets, threshold, option to display UCLs and unit level. REOR, options for unit level and to show the REUR or hide. RECD, choose to use insert headphone, button receiver, or hearing aids as default. Keep settings set to yes to store the coupler data for future measurements.